Hey everybody, I'm Coach Joe, the founder of LyfeFyre Coaching. Today we're going to talk about stop living in extremes and start raising the floor, start raising your standards. So who is this video for? Well, if you're all in for a few days on something and then you fall off and then you feel guilty and then you go extreme again, that's not a character flaw. That is what we call a standards problem. So we're going to raise your floor. We're going to show you how to do that in this video. So I want you to write this down. Your ceiling is your dreams. Your ceiling is your dreams. Your floor is your standards. Most people try to change by raising the ceiling. Bigger goals, bigger promise, bigger motivation. But stability comes from raising the floor. The minimum you never break, even on hard days. A raised floor protects your identity when you're tired, you're stressed, you're triggered, or you're tempted. Now, why do extremes fail? All or nothing usually comes from one belief. That belief is if I can't do it perfectly, I might as well not do it at all. And that belief keeps people stuck in cycles. Got to have a perfect week, and then you slip, and then you get shame, and then you quit, and then you start over. That's not a good pattern. So this week we replace extremes with minimum standards because minimums are sustainable. Sustainable creates consistency. Consistency installs identity. Okay, so we're going to be talking about 5 areas of standards that will help you this week. Okay, so standard number 1, health, movement, food, and sleep. Now, guys, this past Tuesday, I was actually admitted into Spring Valley Hospital for rheumatoid arthritis. While I was in there, they said they found a kidney bump. It ended up being benign. But, I couldn't move my hand at all. I mean, this hand was twice the size of this one because it was so inflamed. I couldn't even make a fist. I could barely bend my fingers. It was awful. But I still had to move my hand, and I still had to do things for my health. I still had to eat proper. I still had to get sleep proper, which is very hard to do in the hospital when you're getting woke up every hour or 2 hours for blood tests and taking your vitals and all that. But that brings me to area number 2, which is mindset, your language, your journaling, your learning, the things that you do when you're in a situation like I was, and when you're just in your everyday life and everything's going normal. You have to have a certain mindset. You have to talk to yourself in a way that motivates you, a way that gets a certain amount of determination in you. Your words are powerful. Okay, what you speak affects you more than you may understand. Words are not just words. Words are like spells. Okay, now it's been proven that if you tell yourself that you're sick, even if you're not, then you will become sick. Okay? Now think about that. There's this old saying that if you tell yourself a lie long enough, you begin to believe the lie. The lie becomes truth even when it is actually still a lie. Okay? So don't lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Remove what you don't like and replace it with what you do like. Now that brings me to number 3, which is relationships. Number 1, your relationship, if you're like me, with God is very important. Your relationship with your wife or your partner, your family is important. But also, relationship with yourself is very important. And people forget to work on their relationship with themselves. And they'll really just beat themselves up when they don't need to. And it makes no sense for them to do that because they wouldn't do that to somebody else. If you're going to treat somebody else with love and kindness, then you also need to treat yourself with that same love and kindness, okay? And that takes work, which brings me to number 4, which is work. Work/financials, money. Now, what you guys may not know about me, or maybe you do, is I am a certified life coach, internationally certified life coach. I am a certified dog trainer, and I am also a certified financial advisor. So when we talk about work and money and focus and planning and spending, if you're not doing that all correctly, it becomes very stressful. And people, for the most part, it seems in today's world, that, all these people have all this money and they're making it easy. No, they're working hard for it. There's years of work that you guys don't see, and then one night, things take off for them. Other people will work hard, do that same thing, and they won't see the same amount of money. And there are reasons why. And those are investments, okay, that people make. Those are businesses that people are opening. These are people who are willing to take risks, who are willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. And so you have to be able to not only work in the physical sense of going out and doing whatever your job is, but you have to work on what you really want to have at the end of the day within yourself. And you have to believe it. You have to have a certain amount of faith, at least the faith of a mustard seed, which is tiny. And then you grow and you water that seed daily so that it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, and your faith grows stronger, and then you start attracting money instead of just going out and trying to make money. Okay, and this is where people tend to not understand what that means. Okay, but if you have a business like, say, Taco Bell, right? Well, Taco Bell attracts, by their logo, by their food, by their menu, visuals, commercials, radio, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that whole time, yeah, they're selling to you, but they're also attracting you, right? By making the food look better than what it actually looks like when you go in the restaurant. And then you go in and you're like, it doesn't look the same, but it tastes pretty good. So yeah, I'll come back and get it again. So if you can create something like that in your own life, if you have a product or if you have a system or if you have something in place, which almost everybody, if not everybody, does, then you can make money without having to worry about going out and doing that everyday job that you may hate. Now, you may need to do that for a while until you replace your income, and you should not make any major changes until you have replaced your income. I would say even doubled it and made sure it's consistent for 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year, depending on what your situation is. Okay. Now, I could go into much deeper conversation about 401ks and IRAs and life insurance and things like that. Those are all things that you guys want to get set up. If you haven't already, these are very important things, okay? So number 4 is very important. Number 3 is vitally important. Number 2 is vital. Number 1 is vital. Really, they're all vital. Every single area of 1 through 5 really are vital. And the last one is your environment. If you have a lot of things around you that are triggering you, that are cluttering your space, cluttering your mind, cluttering your emotions, anything that's influencing you in a way that isn't empowering, you need to do something about that. Clear the clutter. Take 10 minutes a day and clear the clutter. Whatever the triggers are, people need to realize that you are in charge of that trigger, okay? We all decide in an instant because of our nervous system if we're going to be offended, if we're going to be angry, if we're going to be sad, if we're going to be whatever, because our nervous system has evolved over the years. But what people tend to forget is that we are in control of that. It is our nervous system. It belongs to us. We don't belong to it. And so this is where emotional intelligence comes in. This is where coaching comes in. If you don't have it, this is where somebody, a peer that you look up to could come in, a parent, a pastor, whomever you feel comfortable with, somebody like me who can go, what was that right now when we were talking? Not judge it, but just ask a question. Hey, I noticed that your eye twitched or your shoulder moved. And all those movements are behaviors that we want to look at and talk about and go, hey, what did that mean? Was it just your body having a little flutter, or was there some sort of emotion attached to that? What triggered that, okay, within you? And we are all responsible for our triggers. And I know that's hard to hear. I know people don't like hearing that, but it's true, okay? There's no gun in this world that has a trigger that's separate from it. Okay? Well, maybe in today's world there is, but you guys understand what I mean, A real, pistol does not have a separate trigger. It has to be the person holding the gun to pull that trigger, all right? So Minimum standards are small on purpose. And these 5 standards that I went over, you can work on just 10 minutes to 60 minutes a day, depending on how much time you have. I suggest that you take at least 15 minutes per item just to focus on what you can do and then grow it from there. I know the minimum really is 10. So let me go through that real quick. So what would that look like? That means for each item, 1 through 5, you just create a plan. You take 10 minutes, create a plan. That's going to be 50 minutes out of your day, 10 minutes short of an hour, just to write down what you can and go, I can do better in this area by doing this. I can do better in this area by doing that. And, just take 10 minutes. It may even not take you 10 minutes because you may already know and you've just been avoiding doing it. And you just needed someone like me to come up here and say, hey, here's a healthy reminder for you to do this today. So remember, the minimum standards are small on purpose. They're the floor you never drop below. Okay, so here's a few more examples. So your health could be a 10-minute walk plus water and protein. For your mindset, it could be read your identity statement plus 3 journal lines. It could be your relationships with no escalations while activated and repair it within 24 hours. I would actually even say repair it within 24 minutes because the longer you hold on to something that's any kind of a emotion that is uncomfortable, then it's going to get more uncomfortable the longer you let it sit. So if you can, repair it within 24 minutes or even less. Now, one of my indirect mentors is Tony Robbins, and he does a 90-second reset. He gives himself 90 seconds to get angry and to get over being angry or whatever emotion he's feeling that is uncomfortable or not working in a empowering way, okay? If you can do that, I suggest you do that. Now, for work/money, 15-minute plan plus no impulse buys, okay? That might be really hard for some of you, especially with today's world with Amazon and everything just at the click of a button. But if you can discipline yourself to do that, and you should, then that's a very good way to start with working on your work/money plan. The other thing that I would advise you to do is if you want, you sit down with somebody like me who's a financial advisor, and we sit down and we just do a free financial consultation to see where you can save money in your everyday life or how you could better use your money in everyday life. And there's no charge for that. It's 100% free. Now, when it comes to your environment, reset one space daily and remove one item that is triggering you, if that's possible. Obviously, it's going to be hard to remove a person, but if you have something in your house that is triggering to you, maybe a movie or a picture or some sort of materialistic item that is bothering you and you can remove it, then remove it. Okay? Now we have what are called recovery rules. And the most important part of this is you need standards for what to do after a slip because slips happen. And that's okay. A slip does not mean the old you. It doesn't mean that you're going back to that version of yourself that you don't like. It's simply a signal. And so we have a few recovery rules for that. Number 1, stop the bleeding. Don't turn one slip into a spiral. Don't pick at the scab. Just stop the bleeding and reset your body, okay? It's a shift in state. What that might mean is you get up and you go for a walk, you get up, you do some jumping jacks, you do some push-ups, you take a cold shower, shift your state, mental and emotional state, okay? Do one proof action daily, like we talked about in previous videos. Rebuild identity immediately. So whatever your proof action is, if it's walking, if it's exercising, if it's yoga, if it's journaling, whatever it may be that works for you, go and do that proof action for 10 minutes, okay? It could be less than 10 minutes, but 10 minutes would be best, okay? So that's how you're going to stop the relapse from becoming identity, okay? Now, to close this out, your assignment is to set your floor in the 5 areas that we talked about, write your recovery rules, and prove your floor daily, okay? Step 4 is I want you to record the receipts. Now, I'm going to put the week 8 worksheet and the walkthrough in the link so you guys can go ahead and watch that, or do that rather. And actually, you know what? Let's actually go through it real quick because I do have it on my screen right here. So week 8 is where stability gets built. Step 1 is we're going to choose 5 areas: health, mindset, relationship, work/money, and environment. Step 2 is writing a minimum for each area. Now, minimum means measurable, realistic, doable, even on hard days, and non-negotiable. Okay? Examples again would be for your health, a 10-minute walk. Really, you want to get about 10,000 steps in per day. Your mindset would be 3 lines in a journal. Your relationship, pause before responding when activated. Now, when activated, most people will react because that's the nervous system. It just goes immediately to the conditioned response, and we want to recondition that response. So instead of reacting, we want to stop, we want to be quiet, we want to think for a minute, and then we want to respond with something that is not an attackful statement, but something that is actually going to help move the conversation forward and work in favor of both individuals, or all individuals that are involved in the conversation, whatever it may be. Okay? Now, step 3 is to choose 1 anchor minimum. Now, what does that mean? That means pick the 1 minimum you will do no matter what. Okay? What is the very minimum thing that you can do? The very minimal thing, rather, that you can do. Okay? This is going to keep the identity alive even on your chaotic days. So keep that in mind. Make a note of it on your phone. Make a note of it on your hand. Write it down in your car. Put it on a Post-it note. Whatever you need to do. Okay? Step 4 is you're going to build recovery rules. So you're going to write, if I slip, I will. And it could be stop the bleeding, reset my body, do 1 proof action. Okay, these are the things that I have for you guys. You can put different things if you want. You can add to it. Okay, it's up to you. Now, step 5 is to track it daily. An everyday check. Did I stay above the floor? Then record. Today I protected my identity by, and then you put out whatever your answer is there. Okay. All right, guys, so that's how you're going to go through it. I'm going to go ahead and hop off here, and I'll see you in next week's video, which I don't recall the name of at the moment. I should have written it down, and I did not. My apologies. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen. Let's see. Week 9 will be about self-trust. Keep promises to yourself. Okay? So we're going to talk about that next week, and we're going to have a 7-day promise plan, tiny promises plus proof plus repairs. Now, the big promise for this one is you're going to rebuild self-trust without overwhelm by making promises you can actually keep. And guys, always remember that true lasting transformation starts internally and increases external outcomes. With that being said, I'm Joseph Peoples. This is LyfeFyre Coaching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.